Three, two, one, fire.
You're back, and let me tell you, this episode of the Bar Gig Files. Thank you to the fake studio audience for the round of applause on that one. In this edition of the Bar Gig Files, it's going to be awesome because if there ever were to be established the Bar Gig Hall of Fame, this next guest should definitely be one of the inductees. Now, let's have our virtual round of applause for Ed Burroughs.
Hey, what's going on?
Taking a break from remodeling and doing a bunch of self-contractor work. How privileged are we today to have Eddie B on as a guest? Buddy, I got to tell you, man, that's not any BS either about you should be in the Bar Gig Hall of Fame, if there ever was.
I don't know if I should be in the Hall of Fame, but I would just love to be out of the poorhouse. That would be awesome.
I mean, you definitely have that road warrior status. You've gone all over the country. You do these bar gigs that are, as you know, completely different than a regular comedy club show. You've had to have had some unbelievable experiences.
Oh yeah. So the difference between the comedy club and the bar gig, the comedy club, they are there to laugh. They bought tickets knowing that they're gonna sit still and pay attention to a professional make them laugh. Whereas the bar, there's this attitude like, well, if he was any good, he wouldn't be here. And so you got to almost fight for their attention. And when I first started doing comedy, even before I hooked up with you and like Bill and Tom, and you guys all started taking me on the road, I was doing these open mics and showcases in these bars where I called it guerrilla comedy, where they wouldn't even advertise a comedy show. They would just, some guy would just find a bar that's packed on a Friday night and be like, we'll do comedy for free, and just set up in the corner. And these people don't even know there's comedy going on. Like, they don't want to, they came here to let loose and listen to music. They don't want to listen to me go on about my coat hanger abortion joke. You know what I mean? Like, they just, they like, and so the difference between the club and the bar is like, you have to fight for their attention, but once you get it, they are so much more wild and so much more rowdy, and like, I've grown to love it, actually. Like, I love a rowdy crowd.
Yeah, you really do, and it's kind of weird.
Oh, go ahead. But no, I love a rowdy crowd. So for me, like the guy in the wheelchair, it's hard to get crowd work out of people. For me, like, it seems like nobody wants to heckle the guy in the wheelchair. They're it's hard to get a response out of people, especially at a club where, you know, they're told if they heckle, they'll be removed or whatever. And so a rowdier crowd that'll actually talk to me and like actually respond or give me something to play off of, like I almost only find that in the bar gigs. And it's one thing about the bar gigs that I've definitely grown to love.
Yeah, it's a good point you bring up. Nobody wants to heckle the guy in the wheelchair. And I tell you, man, that's one of the things that made you such a great feature act back in the day.
Right, because I
because
would kind of like,
it would settle the crowd down.
yep, yep, and it's like this is, and I would do a good job and everything, but like, yeah, I made it clear, like, hey, you're here to pay attention and listen, you know. Sometimes I would have to fight a little bit to get that attention, but once they were like, oh, the crippled guy's funny, okay, I'll shut up for a second, you know. And
Yeah.
right, like, and you still get that sometimes, but man, when they do, it's so much more fun to dogpile on them, But
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can imagine. Now, after years on the road and doing the bar shows and the pub and grub comedy tour and the guerrilla comedy that you described earlier, it's like, when the Blues Brothers just show up to that country bar, they're not even booked at all. They're like, "Yeah, we're the band." And they're like, "Oh, okay.
yes,
Go on stage."
yes, that is the best analogy. That is it right there. Like, yep, yeah, we're the good old boys. We're here to play, like
Yeah.
that is the best analogy ever. Oh my God, how have I never put that together? Like, and that's what it felt like, man. I would get, go ahead.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
No, you keep going. You keep going.
Oh, like it
Cool.
just felt like just these guys would call me and be like, "Hey, I'm doing this show at this bar. I would love for you to headline, or I'd love for you to feature, whatever." And I show up and I realize, like, there's no posters. Like, this wasn't advertised. Like, nobody's paying attention. Some poor kid, like a local kid, the soft-spoken guy that really hasn't had his voice yet, nobody pays attention to him. Like maybe one or two people, or the three friends that he brought, are whooping it up for him. And then like you realize, like, you have to get their attention and you have to keep it. And for me, being like, I don't do jokes. Like, I tell people I couldn't write a joke to save my life. I tell stories. And so, like, I need you to pay attention to the beginning of the story, because if you don't, you're not going to get the ending, and you're going to be like, well, that guy sucks. It's like, well, no, you suck at paying attention, and so, like, you got to throw in, like, Tom taught me, like, Tom Garland, like, he was the one, like, when it's a crowd like that, loud noises and sound effects and fireworks, get their attention, and so it taught me how to slip in funny into the boring parts of the story to be able to keep their attention. Like, this is leading somewhere. Just bear with me, and the bar comedy, man, it really is. It's like guerrilla warfare comedy. But man, it's like sharpening your nails on concrete,
It is. It's like the Fight Club of comedy.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the open mic scene, because all we're there, we're all just there fighting each other for the 4 available spots that weekend.
Yeah, no shirt, no belt, no shoes.
Yep.
If it's your first night, Fight Club must fight.
Yes, you have to fight. Right.
Comedy. I think it's not for.
Oh,
yeah. You got to be scrappy to do this. For sure. You could take the rules of Fight Club and just put comedy on them, and it's the same thing.
It is the exact same thing. Oh my goodness! I actually have that poster on my wall over there.
Oh, nice.
Yep. You really could.
Are you able to tell, like, you've done so many of these bar shows and you're so good at them? I was able to walk in and with a certain amount of time sort of be able to gauge whether this is going to be great, whether it's going to be terrible, or whether it's just going to be completely insane and chaotic.
Instantly, as soon as you roll into the place, like as soon as you roll in and you meet the person, like by the time you shake hands with the person, like whoever your contact is at the bar, you know what kind of night that's going to be. Like within the first 30 seconds of showing up. There's been a few times that have shocked me, or I've gotten there a little too early and it was empty, and then all of a sudden everybody poured in the last few minutes. And for me, these bar gigs, they're kind of on my end. I'm guaranteed the pay, whether it's a huge blowout, sellout, sale, like everybody and their dog is there, or 10 people, I get paid the same. It's the same amount of driving. There's still no hotel. I'm going back tonight, whatever. So whether there's 10 people there or 100 people there, for me, it's really no different. What matters to me is, are they there for it, and are they into it? And as long as you're there for it and into it, you will have a good time. It's when you got the 10 people that want to be there, and then 90 people that could give a shit less and don't give it a chance and are just loud and obnoxious. And at that point, you just got to go into TV mode, and just like, all right, here's my material, the best I can perform it without a reaction. And without the reaction, as
though you're just performing to a television camera.
Yep. It's real difficult. I actually find it like I struggle with it doing like radio stuff or like these podcasts or whatever. I have a really hard time with it because like there's no reaction. Like, is this funny? Or am I just going down some rabbit hole of nonsense? Because I definitely do that too.
Oh, for sure. And we all do it, but it's the rabbit hole of nonsense that actually gets you to the funniest stuff. If you try to just go straight for a one-liner or the obvious joke, you're really not much different than the humorous guy at the office that cracks a one-liner or smart-ass quip at the water cooler. As comedians, we have to be willing to go down that dark road, aka the rabbit hole, be comfortable with the unknown, and then somehow alchemize all that into comedy gold. I mean, and you're great at that because you have such a unique story to tell anyway. I would say that you're like almost brutally self-aware.
Yes. I got a lot of notes. Yeah, when I first started, I was very self-deprecating. Because and I've always been that way. That was kind of a defense mechanism growing up. So I was a little brother. My older brother was like 5 years older, almost 6 years older than me, and somehow I always got dragged around with him. So I always hung out with older guys. And then school, that's always brutal. And I learned, like, if I can make fun of myself better than anyone else can, nobody can make fun of me.
Yeah.
Like like someone tries to insult me and I come back not insulting them, but insulting myself even worse, it totally disarms them. And then it's like, all right, now we can get started on you, buddy. It just
yeah.
And so I learned that along, and then so when I first started doing comedy, that was one of my first my two most common notes when I first started was slow the hell down, because I would just talk so fast. I would step on my own laughs, and just I felt like every moment had to be filled with sound, and then my other one was like, dude, you are so hard on yourself. And so I kind of had to lighten that up a little bit, because I mean, after going through the wreck, and I've had a lot of death in my family, and almost all of it was either directly or indirectly self-inflicted, just bad decisions, and so the way I've gotten through all of that was comedy, was being able to make fun of it all. Because like, if you can make fun of death, it loses a little bit of its power, doesn't it? And not a lot of people are always comfortable with that, but I don't know, it's how I've gotten through it.
Well, I hear you, Ed, because when you do dark comedy and you do it well, like you do,
Mhm.
it actually makes the subject matter not quite so dark anymore.
And more easy and more likely to be discussed, because a lot of it needs to be
Yeah.
discussed. Like that, I feel like I hate how the whole podcast bro sphere, how it like has the power to influence elections, comics aren't, you're not supposed to get your opinion from a comic. You're not supposed to get your information from a comic. A comic is just supposed to point at something and say, look at this, isn't that funny? And draw attention to an issue. And then the actual experts can figure out what the fuck is going on. Because like, I'm Chuckles the Clown here. Like, I mean, don't take anything I have to say as like life lessons or a way to live by, but I have an interesting perspective, and I've done a lot of shit wrong, and I can tell you how not to do it. That's for sure.
Yeah. And that is what I like about your show. It's you are not necessarily there to indoctrinate anybody. You give them what they want, which is actually escape from all of that stuff. And
Right.
comedians, the best comedy that I personally like is when you're watching someone who feels as passionate about something completely trivial that it almost sounds like they are advocating for a political cause, but what they're really doing is just talking about how crazy dryer lint makes them.
Right.
And they're
Right.
something totally trivial.
I love watching any so like I'm like I almost cursed by being interested in like everything. As long as you are knowledgeable in a subject, I will sit there and listen to you talk about that subject for as long as you want to talk.
Sure.
Like it just I nerded out. One friend of mine is a locksmith, and I just nerd out on that guy talking about it, the different types of locks and how they function and how you can bypass this one and how this one is a flaw, but this it just and why they were made this way, and just go down. Another guy, security cameras were set and he built me out a whole thing for my property that I'll never be able to afford. But like, goddamn, it'd be awesome, like, and it like explained it all out for me. Another neighbor over across the way, I call him the mad mechanic, because this guy, people will build cars and then bring them to him for like the final tuning. And so this guy's over here like dynoing 2,000 horsepower, 8-second drag cars and shit. And so I'll just go over there and I'll just sit in his garage and just watch him nerd out on this shit, and it just, I've just always been, and so I've never really been an expert at anything. I just kind of love observing everything. And so I've picked up a few little things here and there, and every once in a while you start to make connections between those things, and you realize how not different all of it is. All of us are, there's plenty to share, and there's plenty to point at and be like, isn't that funny?
Yeah, and then that's what connects everybody, even if they're not versed in the subject or even know exactly what you're talking about. when you can make
Yep.
that funny, then they go along for the ride, even though they might have zero clue what you're actually talking about.
Right.
Have
Right.
you
And
have when you
oh, go ahead.
have you ever have you gone when you're talking about doing dark humor? Have you found where if there's like a line between what keeps them entertained and laughing and just making them uncomfortable?
Okay, so there's been one I've been kind of playing around with lately that it's definitely a weather gauge for how dark this crowd will be. And I joke about my retirement plan. And because I'm a stay-at-home son. I joke about being a stay-at-home son. And there's not a lot of room for advancement, but hey, one day it'll all be mine. I started looking into retirement plans. Turns out the only one I could afford is from Smith and Wesson,
Yeah.
and I just kind of stopped. And they call it the millennial retirement plan. It's the only thing for sure. And so it is either dead silence or uproarious laughter.
Yeah, okay.
Every time. And there's really no in between with that one. And I was at a family so I was at a family gathering not too long ago, and that one kind of slipped out because like I don't know, like I don't really perform on stage. When I'm on stage, that's just my truest self up there. I'm not creative enough to create a character to take on stage. So like I kind of one of those people who just like never really turn off, and my goal is always to just make people laugh any opportunity, or if they're whatever. And that joke slipped out at a family gathering not too long ago to my pastor uncle and his wife. And there's a history of that exit strategy in our family. And it took me like 25 minutes to be like, it's a joke. No, I don't need therapy. And see, I'm good.
Right,
Like,
right.
no, it's a joke. Like, no, okay, I'll take your therapist card. I'll give him I'll give him a call. Like, I'll
Yeah.
spend $150 an hour explaining to him it's a goddamn joke. Like,
Yeah. I mean, however you cut it, comedy is still cheaper than therapy.
Dude, it's my therapy for sure, especially as a performer. Like, my goodness, if you want to know if you're the asshole or not, take it on stage.
And life lessons from Ed Burroughs, dude. I love it. I don't know how we could top that one. If you want to find out if you're an asshole or not, take it on stage. That's a great line to end with. But we got to come back. I hope you can do some more of these because there's so much further down that rabbit hole you and I could go. And we've been on the road together so much. I think our own road stories going back and forth could fill lots of episodes of the Bargeek Files.
I just found some clips. Do you remember it was like, I don't know, I think it was south, or it was one of the Dakotas, when we just randomly ended up getting scheduled together. And the next day we found that skate park, and you filmed me dropping in on the skate park or on the half pipe. I just found that. Yep. I just found those videos. I need to post those. Like,
definitely do.
Hell yeah. Yep. But yeah, no, there's definitely anytime I would love to just bullshit, because there's gold in these here hills for sure.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Ed, thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate it.
No problem.
And we'll talk to you again soon. Virtual round of applause, Ed Burroughs.
Thank you.
There it is. All right, buddy. We'll see you soon.